Hey guys, Galactic Marine 501 slash jexamwolfexia here, and today, thankfully, I'm getting back to my roots a bit. Today we're going to be looking at the 1 to 100 Gundam Virtue. And Nautilus. It doesn't say Nautilus on the front, but it's the Nautilus as well. As is evident by these pieces. These are his hair. So, yeah, you can see I've got a little red on my hands. I did just paint him. I did a little painting because being a 1 to 100 non-grade and such a complicated one with an armor with a, for lack of a better term, cast off, change, transvestite. Gimmick, yeah. I don't know. Literally, I think Nautilus actually means, like in some language, something having to do with, ambiguous gender or something like that. And the fact that Tierra really is, I mean, if you saw Tierra, you really wouldn't know what gender he is. When he's in his pilot suit, he looks like a guy, definitely, but yeah, I don't know. And the fact that it has the long hair and is so thin and stuff, yeah, a lot of people make that joke. But that's not what we're here to debate today. Today we are here to talk about the Gundam itself, or the Virtue, more specifically. I haven't finished all the painting I want to do with this guy. I'm going to do the insides of the binders and stuff in the proper yellow color. And the bazooka, I'm going to touch that up as well. I'm also going to do a few other things, like some panel lining. I haven't done that yet. So, he's not done, but I wanted to get the review out, because I haven't done a review in so long. So, let's get into the figure. Oh, first, before I forget, yeah, he comes with a stand connector. This works on Nautilus because the underside of the crotch is the same, where this connects. So, that's good. He also comes with more stickers than I've used. He comes with a chin sticker, which I opted out of. These, which I've opted out of. These, which I've opted out of. And these, which I am going to put on later. I usually just detail the gray myself, but I decided on him. I liked the look of the panel lines in there in black, so I just decided, hey, let's just sticker him up. I may take him off later and do it up in actual paint, but oh well. But yeah, here he is. Here he is. He's awesome. He's not as sturdy as the 1 to 144th, but that is to be expected because all this armor does come off. His binder things, his GN field things do open up. They're not really that impressive on the inside because I haven't painted the yellow in yet, but oh well. These ones open up too. They have cannon mode too, but we'll get to that in Nautilus, just to give him a little bit of a unique weapon to show off. He does have the little fins up here that open. I did cut the fins. If you can see, the backs are flat instead of being having a safety tab there. Yeah, I cut those. I also cut the V fins. You can see those are flat. Here's the V fins. Yeah, Nautilus does have a separate V fin because this does detach a few little parts, but that couldn't be done in this scale. It would have to be a 1 to 45th before they could actually do it perfectly. Same with the Sarah V hand gimmick, where his hands sort of do this and then turn into the cannons. Yeah, it'd have to be a 1 to 45th at least in order to get that right. Like a lot of Gundam models, this guy has some really nice, this plastic here. A lot of the 1 to 100ths have this, but if you can see right there, that lavender plastic, that's actually rubber. I don't know why they needed to insert it back there, but that's pretty darn awesome that they did. He's got clear lenses on his arms. Here, this one's more accessible. His face is kind of scrunched. It looks a little, but oh well. All the white on the chest I painted, except for what's underneath there. Yeah, these these two little areas here I painted, and these two areas up here of white I painted. He has gray inside the shoulders. The binders can move up and down, up like this, so they could do their cannon burst mode. I'll do the cannons. Whatever. I'll do them right now. I'll do one right now. And a little further. A little further. There. Perfect. There, he could do the cannons. He could shoot those. They're pretty nice. I like the cannons. I do. They're not my preferred weapon for Nautilus. To be frank, I like his shield and beam rifle a lot. Yeah, I wish he came with them. He doesn't come with Nautilus weapons, sadly. He can do the bazooka burst mode. I'm going to do that off screen. Here, actually, first I'll show you the opened up chest. There. The bottom piece does open too. That's the only piece of black that actually stays for Nautilus mode. I should go back and look to see if Nautilus actually has that in the show, but I don't really have time now because finals are this week. So yeah, wish me luck on my finals, and if I get good grades, then I'll be getting a Deca driver. Because my mom's going to help me supplement some of the money so I can get it, but I need to get all A's and B's to do that, so... Yeah, I'm at all A's and B's. I have one B minus, which technically counts, so... Yeah, but if I don't do well on the final in that class, then that could drop down to a C. Even though the finals at our school are not that heavy in terms of grades, yeah, it'll still drop me down enough, because, I mean, I'm already a little borderline C, so if I don't do well, but I've studied for that one, I'm pretty sure that I'm going to get a good grade. Okay, so here we go. We have his arms ready. Now let's push the bazooka back on its track. And I'd recommend doing this slowly instead of like he does it in the show where it's just sort of a thing. And now that it's locked into the chest, we can shift this part open. Again, something I'd recommend doing kind of slow for the first few times. Crap. I should have done that. You know what? I'm actually going to detach this. I actually did rehearse this one. Before I painted him, granted, but yeah. I did rehearse today, so yeah. That's a new one for me. I normally don't rehearse these, I normally just go for it. I have some lines rehearsed, some things that I want to say, but like the change, the cast off, which I am going to be redoing later when I actually transform him. Just because it is so fitting. And I actually kind of want to get a second one of this guy and paint it up to look like Gatak. Just because Gatak is awesome and I like... And Gatak has shoulder cannons too, so... I mean, they use them kind of differently. But hey, Gatak has shoulder cannon. And so I can warrant... I mean, if he did it like this, then it'd be Gatak. He does it like this, sadly, so it doesn't look as much... It's not as similar to Gatak, and they're not actually attached to his shoulders, they're attached to his back. But, yeah. I'll actually check to see if you can do a Gatak and keep the backpack on. But I think you can. But yeah, here's the bazooka in burst mode. Pretty darn cool weapon. I definitely love this thing a lot. I do see the angry penguin that Prime 92 sees. Cycloptic angry penguin. But still an angry penguin. That is a green seal, by the way. Not painted. I didn't paint the green in. So yeah, that's great that they actually give you a seal for it. I'll close it up. Oh, by the way, I've been watching Kamen Rider Double. And now I'm adding a few cards to my hit list when I get my Deca driver. I'm adding Axle, Axle Trial, and Axle Booster. I haven't seen Axle Booster yet because I haven't gotten that far. I haven't seen the Double Returns movies yet. But I will see Axle Booster when I see those movies. So, yeah. I have a sinus problem. I've been having a sinus infection, so I think it's a sinus infection. It hurts a lot and it feels really weird. Yeah. Now it's time for the cast off joke to return. Cause let's transform this guy. Where's the good place to start? Let's start in the crotch area, just cause that's the easiest. You pull the back plate comes off and takes the back of his armor with it. Backpack, let's remove that. And then you actually, look at this the detail here. You've got a clear piece, a turbine in there. You close these when he ejects that, just to complete the transformation. You have to put the fins up in order to remove these two bits here, which I've painted, so I'm going to be very gentle with. There, like so, and like so. Okay, now I'll put the fins down, just so they don't get in the way of anything else. The shoulder armor just slides right off, here, like so. There, like that, which is pretty cool. That's reminiscent of the way he can actually do it, the way it actually happens in the show. It's not, overly changed from the show aspect to the model aspect. You rip the front crotch piece off. You can pull this piece out. It's all one piece, which is nice. I like how they how they sort of simplified some of the pieces to make it a little easier to transform. They made some pieces that could have been about 6 pieces, 1 piece. Then you pull off the top part of the part that opens. Leave the bottom part on. That doesn't come off, actually. Then you pop the chest bits part, which I'm going to do off camera because they are kind of finicky. The one part I did not rehearse here, let's do this. Here, you just sort of do. That's why I did the first one off camera. But yeah, they just separate into 2 bits, which is good. That's fine. Now let's do part of the head. Just to get a little more of the Nautilus aspect. Rip the face mask off. That'll just come off. There, now you'll have a much sleeker looking Gundam. Pull this off. Take the back pieces here, and you're going to split those in half. I'm going to do that down here, because again, a bit finicky. There. Like so. And now you're going to take the V-fin off. I'm going to reconstruct the head later, because the hair likes to be annoying. But yeah. So this is the Nautilus head without anything on it. Without the V-fin or the hair. So you're also going to have to take this bit off of the back, but that'll come back. Actually, hang on. Give me a sec. Again, something I did not rehearse for because I had a different setup when I did this, when I was building him, and I just sort of put the pieces all in the box, not really thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to have to rebuild this guy as well on camera. So, okay. I'm actually going to take off this gray bit on the back of his head, because you're going to need that off, or at least loosened. And I'm going to get the V-fin out of the box, the new V-fin. I'll put that on in a few minutes. But now for the arms, you take these pieces and you just separate them down the center. They actually come off nice and easy, but they stay on because of these big pegs in there. Which is, I like it when pieces are like that. I don't like when you have a transforming gimmick and the pieces are tight, or incredibly loose. Like, I like it when it's nice and easy to take them off, but they stay on because of polycaps and the big, thick pegs that they use, which is nice. Yeah, I know, big, thick pegs. Penis joke. But anyway, so as you pull these arm bits off, you see he's got forearms that remind me a lot of Exia, and he's got more lenses in there. And you can see a little more of that pink, or that lavender-colored rubber in the backs of the elbows. And in the sides. You can see that in Virtue mode, but it's much more evident here. It's right there. And the fronts of the legs, you can see now, much more evident. But yeah. Just sort of a design thing that I want to point out real quick. I've always liked these giant wheels on the back of his legs. I know those aren't actually wheels, but I like to pretend. And this front piece here, I don't know why, but that I don't know what it is about that curve, but I like the curved nature of it. That's just sort of a sexy curve there. I don't know. What the? Oh my god. I'm starting to become even more of a mechanic than I actually am. Oh yeah, and he's also got a lot more detail there than the 1 to 144th. I don't even know if it's picking it up. Yeah, you can see there are all those little square details. That's pretty darn cool. And so here's his leg in the back piece. That's pretty cool. You see how much bulk it adds. And once you get this off, you really get sort of a mechanical feel from him. And then you take the boot, the foot, and you actually remove the red parts. You just split them down the center. These are the only parts that I'm really worried about. Though I do like the way that they split the back peg there. That makes it a lot less likely to fracture it. Yeah, so what I'd recommend is if you look, separate the front first, because the back is set up to be a safety, so it will not break off. It'll just pop out of its little reservoir there, which is great. Don't hold me to that, by the way. Oh yeah, and more lavender on the legs. These are stickers on the sides here, but on the front is the rubber. So yeah, that's good. At least they got the front. I'm actually going to remove the back first this time. No, actually the front comes off first. Yeah, because it's pegged in and not really secured as well as the back, so. The back is on a polycap, the front is just on a friction peg, which is nice. I like how they designed it so that the back part, so that one part out of the two has a polycap and then the other is just secured by a bunch of friction pegs. That really does add to the easiness of transforming this guy and how little effort you actually need to do to get this guy transformed, which is, I like when it's low effort for transformation. And I'll get the backpack back in here and show you that in a second, but let's construct his head. I like to take the head off to do this, or at least on camera I do. The first bits we need are these. Let's take these bits of hair and we're going to attach them to his neck. These ones are a pain in the butt to stay in, which kind of sucks because the neck does have motion and that does knock him out kind of easily. But if you keep his head up, he shouldn't have too many problems. If you really want to display this guy only in Nautilus mode, I would suggest glue, but that would, again, ruin the Virtue mode. If you're in Japan, I would almost suggest buying a second neck so you can glue them, because they are really hard to get in. They are really hard to stay in. I would suggest actually buying a second head if you're in Japan, just for the sole reason that head and neck would actually really help you out here. Oh, by the way, I am going to paint the red on the sides of the head. I haven't gotten there yet. There is supposed to be red in these little channels here. No, I'm not going to do it on camera. I could do it on camera, but I don't think I will. Next, we're going to put the V-fin on. Now, you notice this V-fin is a little slimmer. Here, let me get the Virtue's V-fin. The Virtue has a big, bulky V-fin, whereas this guy has a much slimmer, nicer V-fin. It fits his aesthetic a lot better. The only part that I really can complain about on the Virtue is the face. The face mask really does not stay in very well. That's a minor nitpick, but it's there. Now, let's get the back hair in, because that's the easiest to stay in out of all of them, actually. Because it's pegged in on a hinge by that gray piece that I showed you. See there. Now, this can actually move up and down. You could say it's made to move, so you can either have it flowing behind him or against his back, which I think is cool. Now let's peg the head back on. I know I need to attach the front hair, but I like to do that afterward, just to make it a little easier to get in there, or a little less friction to have it stay in there for, a little less stuff to have to do while it's in. So there's one, and here's the other. I'll get this one in. Now I almost want to revoke the whole transvestite comment with this guy. Then again, it would work for a transvestite, but no transvestite is stupid enough to have a Fu Manchu, which is kind of one of the aspects I get from this guy with that front hair. I almost want to say, Konnichiwa, sensei, or something like that. But, yeah. Now, he does have one other weapon. This one seems to work a little better. If you look, when I bend his knee, I'm showing you the wrong side, am I? No. His beam saber pops up. The other one doesn't for some reason. I don't know what I'm doing wrong on that one, but it just doesn't pop up. Oh, I see. Yeah, it's a little more recessed in there. This was a problem with my 1 to 1/44th scale Virtue as well. Ah, crap. I don't know why it's not doing it. Okay, well. Well, he's got his beam saber handles. Which, you know, all versions of this guy have. Almost every Gundam 00 kit has the beam saber handles, which is, you know, cool. But some of them don't come with beams. Luckily, this guy does, because that's the way I picture Nautilus. I picture Nautilus when he used his trial system for the first time to fight the Trinities, and almost killed the Throne Eins, but Ribbons stopped him. Yeah, so this is what I picture the Nautilus as. I actually kind of like to make a T shape with the beam sabers, sort of replicating Axel Trial. Even though it's not really a T, it's more of an upside down cross. But yeah, this would be more of a T. But yeah, this actually doesn't look that bad, having them like this. But, oh yeah, this is something that'll happen. This back piece of arm rubber will come out sometimes when you bend the arm too much. But it's easily replaceable. It's, you know, it's a minor nitpick, but it's there. This you could glue in easily and just have it be there and glue. Yeah, it'll work perfectly if you glue it in, actually. So I'd actually suggest gluing that in. I am actually going to glue it in now. I forgot to do it before the review, but hey. So let's take the beam sabers out of his hands. And actually, I'm going to put him back in his knees. Give me a sec. I'll show you how you get him to his knees. Just sort of bend the knee again, and this one that actually works, I'll show you how you do it. You just sort of slip it in, just sort of drop it, make sure it just sort of drops in there. Then you just sort of close it, And it should, in fact... Oh, nope, it didn't catch that time. There. I can't get it this time. I don't know. Is it this one that works? Or is it the other one that usually works? But yeah, there's a way you get it in there that works a lot better. That makes it so that it pops up when he bends his knee. I can't seem to hit it this time, so oh well. There's a sweet spot in there. I know there is, but I just can't seem to be hitting it. I'm not hitting it. But yeah, it's nice that they tuck away in there, and he can. Here, I'll actually put one of the legs back on just to show this off. That he can reach for that he can get him out in virtue mode. Yeah. Yeah, if you look inside the knee, they're actually still accessible, not as easily accessible. Actually gotta sort of dig for them, but yeah, they're still in there. They're still accessible in virtue mode. But it is much easier with the second knee joint to get them out. Virtue is a blockier mobile suit. He's supposed to be a chunky, big, less mobile guy, which is nice that they actually did hinder a lot of his articulation with virtue mode. Some people I've heard have problems with that, major problems, like they bash the whole kit, say, no, I'd get the 1 to 144th virtue and Nautilus separate because, yeah. I could see that with the unicorn, because his is really sort of a transformation gimmick. He doesn't shed anything, but with this guy, the shedding really does work. He looks good in both modes. The only thing that would make this guy much better is if they spent a little more time designing him, got a little more of the color in there without having to use seals. Did a little more in terms of the hair staying in. I would have liked to see a little, way to notch it in or something that it didn't want to fall out. But I could see why that. I would have liked to see the hair in that soft rubber that it is in the 1 to 144th. Because I think that would have actually provided a lot more traction in a way that it would have worked. I'm going to extend the cannons off screen since I showed that already. But I am going to show something. Okay, now here's another area where you need to be careful. They probably outline this in the manual, but if you're American, you can't read Japanese, you can't read it. There's a little notch here. The other side has a ridge that doesn't work as well, but the notch is what you're supposed to put upward, facing up, for the sole reason that you can get your fingernail into that notch, and if you do it right, there, you can pop the handle out easier. If you look, the other side has that ridge. Don't put that one in. I did. I had to pull the cannon off, then I had to pull the cannon apart, and then I had to do one other thing. But yeah, you can in fact still open the vent. Let's see how easy it is to get the vent out completely. Just for people who paint after they build. Yeah, it's not that hard, but it's also not recommended, I don't think. Because I don't like that click at the very end there. It is kind of a worrying click. It's not, the smooth click of a ratcheted joint, let's go with. Yeah. Now, I'm actually going to separate this guy's hands. Actually, I'm going to do both. Just because, I mean, this guy's already a huge kid, a huge deal. He's the virtue, and he does the full Nautilus transformation. That's not a small deal. And this is the best kid of the virtue we have at this point. The Exia has a master grade. I would love to see the virtue in master grade. I loved the CeraV even more. Actually, no, I'd like to see the virtue a little more in master grade, just because there's a lot of stuff on him that can be done a little better. The Caradum and Dynamez would be even better candidates, and sadly, we never got a 1 to 100th gun archer, but I'd like to see that. I may actually get a... I've seen a resin kit for it, where you can just get a gun archer, and it comes with all the parts to do the Arios archer thing. And they all attach to the peg hole that you use to do the what the truck. Okay, so he has something weird on his wrist. Is that supposed to be there, or is that just plastic? Oh, he actually has something very interesting. If you look at the wrist there, he's got a nub. That's so the ball joint can't go down. And that's actually for the bazooka. That's cool. Because if you notice, this is the hand he holds his bazooka one-handed in. So having it not be able to go down... Yeah, the other one has it too, but... Yeah. Okay, so... You know what? Considering how long that took with the hand and stuff, and the arm falling off, I'm just going to do one of the cannons and give him a sort of looking down the barrel pose. There. Oh, and you know how I said those neck hair things fell out really easily? Yeah, of course they're not going to do it on the review, but when I get done with the review, they're just going to fall out. I know. I know it. It's going to happen. Just going to turn this off. They're both going to shoot off and ping against something and never be found again. It's my luck. But, okay, I'm actually going to show you what I used for the coloring. Actually, hang on. I used a thin point Sharpie red and a thick Sharpie white to do the red and white. I'm going to use the thin point Sharpie red to do the red that I still have to do. Gundam marker gray is good for the gray because it'll match the gray of the mobile suit perfectly. So yeah, I'd go with the Gundam marker gray. But for the red, which is sole red piece, then again you do see a little of the Nautile's chin, so you may want to go with the Gundam marker red. I like the normal red. I like Sharpie markers better, but Gundam marker red will match it exactly. Gundam markers, the reason they're awesome is because they match everything perfectly. The colors are spot on, so take that as you will. I like Sharpie markers because they're much easier to apply. They have super thin. Hang on, let me see. Are you a super thin? You're thin. Are you a super thin? I think the gold. Yeah, they have super thin point, which are really nice for panel lining. They have thin, which are this thick. They have thick, which are about like this. And they have mega, which are, I'm not going to lie, it's about this thick around. And I've never seen them. A kid at my school had them for a project. I've never seen one like that. So yeah, this has been Galactic Brain 501/jexamwolfexia. My final thoughts on the Virtue are, definitely if you're a fan of T-Area, if you're a fan of the Virtue, pick this guy up. He's awesome. He does the full Nautile transformation. If you are deciding between the 1/144th and the 1/100th, I honestly would go with the 1/144th. This guy's a gimmick. He really has a gimmick that intrudes a little bit on some things. It makes him harder to pose. But this guy does have a lot of things to make up for it. The 1/144th Nautile, unfortunately, is better. The hair stays in a lot nicer. He comes with his beam rifle and his shield, as well as the beam sabers. He actually comes with a beam dagger, which he did use. I have to give some props toward the 1/144 Nautile. I would get both. This guy is a nice display piece. The 1/144th are nice for epic action poses. This guy can pull some epic action poses, but the Nautile is missing his beam rifle and his shield. If you can get past that, this guy is definitely a great kit to buy. But yeah, next time I'll either be with you guys with Kamen Rider Decade, or maybe the Age 2 normal. I have number 9, which is the G-Axis. I'm getting number 10. And I'm going to keep going up until I get the G-Bouncer. And and I'll keep going until I am done. Yeah, I like the age kits so far, and the Farsia is out now, so I'll get that. The UE suits are really cool. I don't know what they're actually called. They actually have a name. I think it's like vegan or something. But yeah, the UEs are cool. I like them. Uh, the Farsia had a very influential role. I do like the Adele. It's a very cool, sleek mobile suit. The Gen OS 2, I'll pick it up. The Yeah, they're all very good kits. But back to the Virtue. The Virtue, I would pick him up. He's a nice build. It's a very fun build. It's an absolutely awesome build. Um, very hard to put down, actually. Very hard, like, once you start to get away from. The Nautilus is they're both flawed a little bit. If you can paint some of the white on, I think you'll like it a little better. If you can paint the red of the goatee on, you'll definitely like it a little better because the goatee stickers are never good. But yeah, he's a great kit. Pick him up if you can get him cheap. He's not exactly worth $70 or $80, which is around what I paid for him from an import shop. But I was supporting the import shop too. I legitimately bought a bunch of crap for friends of mine. I bought a friend of mine a Miku Hatsune figure. I bought another friend of mine a Revoltech. Or no, an Ultraman figure. I bought a few figures of my own. I may review them. I may review them. I got the Yoko, the Revoltech Yoko. I think it's Revoltech. I'm not sure though. It's either a Revoltech or a Figma. It's one of those nice figure companies of Yoko Ritona from Ritona. I don't know how you actually Littner. Let's just go with Littner from Tengen Toppa and Logon. I got quite a few things there. This guy's the only one that I'm actually planning to review, because the others, it'd be too quick. A lot of the things I got are like Gashapon. So yeah. See you guys. This has been Galactic Marine 501/jexamwolfexia. Crap.